The philosopher Blaise Pascal observed that human beings exist at a highly disorienting physical midpoint between the infinitely large and the infinitesimally small. This scale maps our physical reality. Look upward, and the numbers jump exponentially into billions of light-years of endless solar systems. Look downward, and the scale descends violently into molecules, atoms, and the infinitesimally small. We are trapped in the middle of these extremes. It is a terrifying spatial orientation. You are half as big as the universe, but you are also half as small. Experiencing reality from this tiny, finite center point forces human beings into a strict spatial bias. We navigate the world by measuring physical distances, and we instinctively apply that exact same logic to the infinite. When we look up at the vast cosmos, we automatically attempt to place the Creator inside of it. We imagine him located somewhere specific, beyond the starlit sky. Theologian A.W. Tozer identified this as the defining error of modern Christianity. He called it a cheap god, or cowboy religion, a localized, manageable deity you can pal around with. This small view of God naturally breeds a desire for a utilitarian heaven. The goal becomes a split-level home, 2 cars, and golden streets, an exact replica of earthly comfort, just perfected. Logically, this spatial bias reduces the Creator to an absentee engineer. He becomes a distant entity running a mechanical universe by remote control across millions of light-years. To cure this shallow theology, we must build a rigorous philosophical model of God based on Tozer's work. Space does not contain God. God contains space. The baseline term for this model is immanence. This diagram illustrates a universe where God's presence penetrates and permeates all existing coordinates simultaneously. Because of immanence, there is no spatial distance required to find him. He is equally present at every conceivable point in reality. But teaching immanence without strict boundaries creates a massive philosophical trap. It risks pantheism, the false belief that the universe itself is God. To balance the model, Tozer introduces a higher-order attribute overriding it all: immensity. Immensity dictates that the Creator is distinctly separate from his creation. He permeates the universe, but he is never confined or contained by it. The medieval mystic Lady Julian of Norwich designed a specific thought experiment to shatter our spatial bias. She described a vision where all of created reality, the entire cosmos, reduces to the size of a small hazelnut. From the perspective of divine infinitude, the entire universe is a small, contingent object held securely in the palm of a hand. C.S. Lewis offered a secondary topological model to illustrate this relationship. This infinite white plane represents the boundless, uncreated nature of God. A single 1-inch black pencil line drawn on that infinite paper represents the absolute beginning and end of all human time and space. God does not dwell in the dimensions of space and time. Space and time are entirely submerged within God. The biblical text of Isaiah 40 applies this topological model directly to physical reality. It describes a scale so incomprehensible that it can measure the oceans in the hollow of a hand. Tozer visualizes this scale by imagining our entire solar system being tossed into an infinitely vast body. Like throwing a single shovelful of burning coal into a blinding furnace, our entire solar system is instantly swallowed up. Dimensions like distance, length, and weight are merely accounting mechanisms. They are tools created things use to measure themselves against one another. A self-existent being without borders requires no spatial accounting. The universe is not a vast cosmic container that God navigates. It is a finite, fragile object that he intimately holds. This brings us to the theological concept of magnifying the Lord, as commanded in Psalm 34. We typically think of magnification like a microscope, forcing a small thing to look bigger. True magnification is a telescope, perceiving the massive, actual scale of reality. And this immense God is not a cold, distant entity. He is an enthusiastic creator who actively delights in sustaining his works. Driven by financial gain, human beings regularly drag the top off the earth, leaving the terrain gashed and destroyed. Yet over time, the natural world joyously repairs those scars. That recovery is the active, enthusiastic maintenance of its maker. This diagram illustrates Tozer's final analogy. A bucket submerged a mile deep in the ocean is full of water, but it is also surrounded by the ocean limitlessly on all sides. True magnification cures the believer of cheap theology. It reveals that we are entirely submerged within the presence of God. This entirely redefines the individual believer's relationship to an incomprehensibly immense being. We do not stand isolated at a terrifying, empty midpoint in the cold universe. Instead, we are completely and safely enveloped. It provides profound comfort to the biblical concept that our finite lives are, as Paul wrote, hid with Christ in God. A utilitarian heaven of golden streets and earthly comforts will always fail to satisfy the human soul because it relies on things plus God. Because God contains all space, knows no limits, and enthusiastically sustains every atom, He alone is sufficient. We are not traversing a cold, empty universe trying to locate a distant deity. We are on an endless journey into the infinite heart of a God who already surrounds us on every side.